this is Jazzy here from jewelsbyjazzy.com, and in today's video we're going to teach you how to make a simple wire wrapped ring. Now you can see from the photos here that you can use almost any type of stone to make this ring. So go ahead and find your favorite stone that you want to wire wrap and we'll get started. For the tools and supplies that you're going to need for today's lesson, we're going to use 20 gauge artistic wire. This is silver plated, silver, non-tarnishing. Okay, so that's what we have. It comes in lots of colors. Here's black also. You can get this in virtually any color. And we're going to go ahead and wire wrap some lamp work. These are cat's eye beads. These are about 10 millimeters. You're going to need your ring mandrel. This is a plastic ring mandrel. It's got all the sizes from a size 1 ring all the way down to a size 15, so you can do men's rings. Now this particular ring mandrel on the back has a groove in it. So if you have this ring mandrel, the sizes that I'm going to teach you on what to start with will work. You're also going to need a ring sizer. If you don't know what size ring you wear, go ahead and either pick up a plastic or stainless steel ring sizer, or if you're making this for a customer, make sure you know their ring size. These are all on the full size, 4, 5, 6, so it's whole sizes. If you need half sizes, obviously you can make those by gauging it on your ring mandrel. You're going to need a pair of chain nose pliers. You're going to need your flush cutters, and we can go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to go ahead and unspool about 2 feet of wire, so about 24 inches, and just kind of run it through your fingers as you're unspooling it. It warms the wire, and it kind of gets it, work hardens it and gets it ready. Take your flush cutters and just cut that off. Now for this particular ring, we're going to actually add the bead first. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out a bead. We're going to add that to the wire first. Center that on your wire. Okay. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to have you put about a little bit of a kink, or not even quite a 90-degree turn, but maybe about a 45-degree turn in each side of the wire. And you'll see why at the end. You want to kind of lock that bead in place. Okay. Set it on the size ring one size larger than you need. So I'm going to shoot for a 7, so we're going to wrap this at about an 8. Okay? You have to hold it tight. It gets a little awkward. And for the shank of the ring, which is the bottom of the ring, we want 4 wraps on the ring. So let me show you one that's got 4 wraps. See how there's 4 wraps? It's 4 wires side by side. It gives it a nice, solid, thick shank for the bottom of the ring. Okay, so I'm holding this with my thumb. I'm going to wrap this around. Now for this one, whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom because you want that bead centered. So I'm going to do 1 wrap from the top. And I've got 1 wrap from the bottom. So I'm going to take the bottom wire and do the same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to do it again to the top. At the bottom and top. So I've got 4 wraps. We'll go ahead and slide this up. So the ring, it's always going to be, because it's an even number, you'll have 2 and then 1 on the top, if that makes sense. The bead's going to be kind of in between. If you had 5 wraps, you'd have 2 wraps and then 2 here. So you can do whatever you want, but I like 4. Now what I'm going to do is, because I need to get back to that size 8, and you can see it's all over the place, it's quite a bit larger. So I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to pull these wires really tight to tighten this up until I get it back at a size 8. Okay, so I'm going to slide it down and I'm going to pull real tight. Okay. So there we are at the 8. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start wrapping the wires around the main bead. Okay, so I've got this bead cinched up at about the size 8, and I've got the 2 wires and I'm pulling really tight. The left one I'm pulling out to my left side and the right pulling out to the right side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap these at the same time. As I wrap one wire, I want to do the other wire. Now this is your preference how you want to do this. We're going to create kind of a wrap above the bead. You can go above the bead and we're going to wrap around the sides. And that's why I had you do that little bend in the wire, because we're going to wrap up to it. We're going to keep going around. Do you see what I'm doing here? And it's kind of a free-form design. And I think we've got enough wraps right there. And we'll straighten all this out. It kind of gets away from you, so it's real loose. But once you get all your wraps, you see that it's kind of a free-form design going around the sides? We're going to slide this off the ring mandrel. I always kind of put my finger in there to hold the place. This is a lot of excess wire to have in your way, so cut it down to about 4 or 5 inches on each side. And save your scrap wire because you can always use it to make earrings. And if you watch our video on earring wires, how to make your own, you'll see that. So now we're going to start wrapping this around. We want to do about 4 wraps to make this real tight. So I'm going to take the wire, I'm going to tuck it back under the ring. I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers because it's going to help me pull this through nice and tight. So I'm going to pull that through real tight, and I'm going to wrap it and send it through again. Don't worry about these getting messed up underneath the shank wires. We'll straighten that out. We're going to hammer those, and I forgot to mention you're going to need a rubber mallet hammer, which I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so we want the wires to be side by side. If they get a little out of place, use your chain nose pliers to line them up. That's 2 wraps. We're going to come back through. This is the 3rd wrap. Come back through for the 4th wrap. Okay, now we're going to just repeat on the other side. But before I do that, we're just going to trim that little piece off and cut it. And we'll do the other side. Same thing. Okay, now that we've got the second side wrapped, we're going to go ahead and we're going to shape this a little bit. Okay, if you want these wires down, just give them a little scrunch. Just use your chain nose pliers to squeeze them down on the ring, kind of keep them nice and compact. It's whatever you want. This is a free-form style ring, so you can have those wires however you'd like them. We're going to go ahead and put this back on the mandrel, and we're going to shape it a little bit. Okay, it's going to be right at about a 7. What we're going to do is we're going to put the bead side, because I have the grooved type of ring mandrel, we're going to put the bead side down. We're going to push it down as far as we can until it won't go any further, and we're going to get these wires straight. First we're going to hammer along the bottom, and then we're going to hammer to the top and to the bottom. Now here's the wood handle rubber mallet I forgot to show you. You're going to need one of these. Okay, it's a rubber mallet, and what we're going to do is we're going to lean our mandrel on the table to get some stability. You might want to protect it with the rubber mat or something. You won't damage your table, but you just need something to hold it in place. And I'm going to hammer. It doesn't matter which side of the mallet you can use either side, but what I'm doing is I'm getting those wires to flatten out so that they lay side by side. If your ring slides on you, just go ahead and push it back in place. Okay. Now I've got them all flat side by side, but now I have to get them to compress so they look nice and tight together. So I'm hammering down on all 4 wires, and I'm hitting them at an angle. So I'll do this side, then I'll slide it off, and I'll do the other side. Okay, so we're going to slide it off. We've got some gaps there, so we're going to slide it off. Turn the ring around. Make sure that's centered. We're going to go ahead and tap this way. Now if your ring is too small, you can get about an extra 1/4 of a size out of a ring by doing this because it's actually stretching the ring at the same time. Okay, so that's all done. Everything's lined up. We're going to slide it off. And what I need to do is I need to secure these little ends that we cut and just kind of bend them down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to squeeze and roll at the same time. Okay, because I don't want a rough end there. And if you can feel it with your finger, you know you need to bend it down into place a little bit more. So I'm going to squeeze and roll. Okay, that side is good. Now this other one here, what I need to do is I need to squeeze and roll. So I'm just kind of squeezing this down and rolling it. And what it's doing is it's making sure that that's not going to get stuck. You don't want it to get stuck on clothing or feel rough or anything. And I like to cut the end so that it's on the top of the ring. You can cut it so that it's in the inside, but you have to make sure it's really smooth so it doesn't scratch your finger. Now that may have misshapen some of these wires, so let's go ahead and put it back on the mandrel and just see real quick what happened there. Okay, we just need to tap it a little bit. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and see here's our ring. All finished. It's a cute ring. This one's obviously not for me. But let's go ahead and put it on the mandrel and see if we got to our size 7. There we are. We're a smidge bigger. This ended up being about a 7 1/4. But so when you start out, it depends on what type of mandrel you start with. You're usually going to start about 1 size bigger or maybe 3/4 of a size bigger. So that is how, let's show you what this looks like. You can make a free-form wire wrapped ring. Thanks for watching.